Here we go onward with Final Fantasy Ultra Champion Edition. We're heading over to the Northwest Castle to see if Astos is hanging out there waiting for us. To give a spoiler for the end of the video, yes, he is hanging out there waiting for us. So we definitely need to go over there and find him. His castle has been changed up a little bit, and I have done a little bit of building and shopping between this video and the completion of the Marsh Cave. And very simply, I did that because I did a couple of trial runs at Astos and fell a little bit short. I just ran out of firepower, so I had to do a little bit of cash grinding to get a couple of extra spells that I think are going to do the trick for us. Luckily, again, the Northwest Castle, I think, is a little bit closer to Elfland. Maybe not all that much closer, but it seems like it's closer. I know the Marsh Cave has been kind of compacted. So here's the Northwest Castle. The layout is a little bit different, as you can see. We've got a maze to walk through, to navigate, and random battles in it. Now, this is a very efficient way to make dungeons longer with fewer tiles, is to make it a maze. So it's a way, if you're a ROM hacker, you can make a dungeon floor take a little bit more time to navigate, make it a little bit more difficult without actually expanding the size of it in the ROM. You just put up some well-placed walls to corral the party into walking around. Now, this isn't, I don't know if I would call this a maze because it's pretty linear. It just kind of forces you to walk a spiral around the room. So far we've had a couple of battles with these ogres. The green ogres hit pretty hard, and the regular vanilla ogres are no longer all that valuable for me to be battling. I'm not quite where I can one-shot them, even with the Viking, where normally in a vanilla run of this game, your fighters would be, especially if you were able to get enough money for a silver sword, your fighters would by now be able to start taking ogres out in one shot, and you can really build your gold quickly once they can do that. But these ogres, their absorb is just a bit too high for solo my Viking right now, and the rewards in money and gold are just pretty slight. So I'm going for the low percent run chance. And you just gotta, in this game, you just gotta hope it pays off when you do that. Although there is a very real possibility that it might not. There is a treasure room right there that I did clear while I was getting some money, because there was some cash in the treasure chests down there. There's one chest with some gold, and a couple of chests had some weapons and armor that were at the same level I am. So the iron level weapons and armor. I think maybe an iron staff and I think an iron piece of armor. I sold everything and took the money. That helped me buy the haste spell for my sage. The troll bat here gets me in a 1-tile wide hallway, unfortunately. So I picked up the haste spell, which is a level 4 black magic spell for my sage. I also picked up a charge of Fire 2 and a charge of Temper, or a copy of Fire 2 and a copy of Temper. We'll take a look. So you can see at level 3 there, instead of just Bolt 2, we now have Fire 2, Temper, and then we have Haste. Now, Haste operates like the Fast spell. It gives you an extra hit or doubles your hits for a physical fighter. So I'll be casting that on our Viking named Sulla. And then I noticed in the couple of unsuccessful battles with Astos that you can't really just power through him, unfortunately. So let's take a look at his text. So that has been changed because normally you have to give him the crown, which you pick up in the Marsh Cave. So he just has a mild threat for us. And Astos, instead of doing Rub, instead of casting Rub on his first turn, he goes into some other status magic that gets ugly, and then he gets into his elemental big stuff. So we've got Stop, which is Stun and Sleep on one single character. Unfortunately, that's the character that I had cast Haste on, so I was going to hope to do some good damage there. And my Paladin there does not have the spell I need, but my Cleric does. The Wake spell will take care of the Sleep and the Stun. And the Fire 2 is a single targeting spell that does good damage, and just like in the vanilla version, fire, I believe, is an element that Astos does not resist. I don't think he's weak to it, but he does not resist it, so it will actually do pretty decent damage. Before I was casting, Bolt 2, wasn't doing a lot. I was doing around 100, which you would think is a lot because Astos only has 168 in the vanilla version, but in this one, it's significantly higher. So my Paladin's Cure 2, this is the first time I'm really using any curative spells in battle. This is the first real significant boss battle in this game. So there's poison on all 4 characters. Fire 2, again, really nice damage. And look at all the damage that Astos can soak up and still be kicking. So Purge is going to target all of our characters, so it's going to be a really nice defensive spell for us. We'll all be cured of poison in 1 action, which is great before we lose any health. So he now has 4 hits, does my Viking. And Fire 2 still doing excellent damage. The other attacks are just not going to do very much. Here's Bolt. This is the all-targeting lightning element. It's level 1 spell, so not doing a ton of damage, but spreading it out. So I will have to have my Paladin soon switch to be simply a healer, especially with this ice spell stacking on top of my of that Bolt spell. So heal is going to do significantly more. It acts a little bit more like heal 2, I think. From the vanilla version. I'm out of Fire 2 spells, so I'm onto the Arrow spell. And now it's going to be a battle of attrition to see if we can power his hit points down before he gets ours. One spell I did not pick up for this fight that I did not try is the Mute spell. I did not pick that one up. That is and we do get him with an Arrow spell, so after all of our Fire 2 charges are gone, we get him with the Arrow spell. I did not pick up Mute for this battle. That is a viable way to take him on in the NES version, although it's a kind of a low % shot to try to land that on him before he starts doing nasty things. But if you can, he's pretty much done for the rest of the fight, because Astos will try to cast magic and use abilities on most turns. He has a pretty high chance of attempting those, and he's going to fall short. He's going to try and do that, but he won't. But so we did beat him without using the Mute spell, just with the Haste spell on my Viking, and then mostly those Fire 2s from my Sage, and the other 2 were acting as good defenders. So I'm hoping that that's what you would call a quote-unquote textbook battle with Astos, where you have a balanced party, 2 offensive members and 2 defensive members, with a nice bit of versatility there. I like with the increased role of status effects, like his stop spell and also the all-targeting poison spell. I'm glad now that I do have a couple of characters who can help with spells like Purge and Wake. And I'll have to reevaluate as I go back and fill out my spell list a little bit more of some of those lower level spells. I'll have to reevaluate and see, give a little more consideration to some of the other spells that take out negative statuses, and try to keep more of them in my spell lists. Luckily, the Paladin and Cleric seem to, between the 2 of them, have had access to all of the white magic spells so far, so I haven't really been without anything there. And of course, the Sage can cast any spell in the game, so I can get all of the black spells from him. The Warlock, I understand, would not have been able to get things like Haste or Temper. The Warlock, I think, just does the big direct, big damage black magic spells, I think. So it's nice with the Sage that I can have access to things like Haste and Temper. I think the Ninja and maybe another fighting class can have access to those black spells that will buff you, the buffing black spells. But my Sage can do that for us too. Sadly, the Viking has no magic, although he does get magic charges. I found this, Here Lies Joris, 817 to 896 RIP. That was the Erdrich Tomb in the vanilla version. I did talk to another inside baseball reference. I did talk to the author of this hack, and that was Joris is an early playtester of this hack, who, as I understand, did not survive very long, so he gets a gravestone. Poor Joris. We knew him well. This is the herb that was hanging out behind Astos. I'm already sitting on the TNT, but we do get the Mystic Key from the Prince here as he wakes up. His sprite doesn't change, so he's just going to be hanging out in bed for the rest of the game, unless that has been significantly changed from the vanilla version. So now we can go over to the Mystic Key locked room. The text does not change. In some patches it does change. There is a flag there, or if you have the key, there will be a different text prompt. Nothing too remarkable right there. Just some equipment that's on the level with what we have right now. So that will just be sellbait, and a lot of things when you pick up the Mystic Key in the vanilla version, you'll pick up a lot of things that are just sellbait. It's just items that are on the level with what you have already, or even a level below. So it's just a really nice way to stack up your money. And in this patch, I can tell I'm definitely going to need every piece of gold that I can get. So the Astos, successful Astos fight there was the result of some careful planning and a little bit of trial and error there. Trying to just bull rush your way through Astos like you normally can in the vanilla version did not work, and I kind of thought that it might not work, but I just always like to try it because you want to see what's waiting for you, what kind of threat level you should assess. And when I saw that he was casting a lot of elemental spells, I don't have any of the elemental protection spells just yet. I think they'll be in the next level of spells I have access to. The steel staff is a nice upgrade for my sage, so he'll be doing some better damage now. And then also when I saw that Astos was casting a lot of the poison and stun spells, I decided to put more emphasis on playing a bit more defensively for what ended up being a kind of long, drawn-out boss battle. And I guess I'm expecting all the bosses from here on out to be longer, more drawn-out battles that are going to require more defensive abilities. So now we're going to go over to the Dwarf Cave to pass off the TNT to Narek, who is the construction dwarf. I'll try to speed things up here with the ravens. We'll get rid of them. Get out of here. And there is a Mystic Key locked room here in the Dwarf Cave that normally has nothing remarkable in it in the vanilla version, and I'm expecting nothing else remarkable for this one. I'm expecting just more selling material. But of course we will see. When you're playing a ROM hack, all changes are on the table. There is nothing that isn't within our reach. There's my second channel returning. As in other patches where they've worked with the sound channels and the sound effects, this steel shield is a nice upgrade. You do get some hiccups in the sound channeling. So when you have dialogue boxes where it skips the little sound effects of the dialogue box opening and closing, you'll often have hiccups in the second sound channel, the middle channel of the music. I've seen that in a couple of different hacks whenever the sound has been adjusted. So that's just a common hiccup you'll have with ROM hacks, and that's something that must require a fair bit of programming, or maybe even be impossible to actually fix. But I will take the hiccup in the second sound channel over the slow and high-pitched sound of the Windows opening. So I'm thinking that's where we just say, well, we prefer that, so we'll just go with that. So this one I'll sandbag up and just defend against this one, because we're going to be heading through the gap out of the Aldi Sea and into the large ocean of the world. So I'll pick up a little bit more gold and experience from the ogres and the creeps, because I know I'm going to need a lot of it once we get over to the next town. And there's that steel staff coming in, doing 10 there. I think its base attack is 17. I think it's 17, so doing good damage minus the absorb, which I've noticed in the README. It warned me of this, but I'm definitely noticing as we go through. A lot of enemies do have higher absorb than I remember, and this is different. The layout of the map here is different, so I'm going to check our world map, which does reflect all the changes that have been made. looking to the west of our position there. I'm surmising that that's the Earth Cave on that peninsula, that pointy peninsula right there. Melmond is normally would be kind of northwest of our position right there. It's normally northeast of the Earth Cave, and you have to kind of walk around a kind of a circuitous route to get to the Earth Cave. But for this video, we're just going to just confirm that that's the Earth Cave, and then we'll next time we'll do our shopping in Melmond. We'll look around the town and take a stab at the Earth Cave. But we'll be ending this video just once we confirm that that's the Earth Cave. And these battles with the sea hags again. When you're on the ship, it becomes a little bit irritating, even in the vanilla version. Once you have to fight these battles, and it gets a little bit more so in this one where your escape chances are so much lower when you don't have a rogue in your party. So that's the cave that I'm thinking is the Earth Cave. And it looks like you can sail there, or you could walk there from the west. I'm not sure what's going to be waiting for us in the Earth Cave. I'll make some wild guesses that maybe Sarda's cave has been moved, or changes may have been made to the rod sequence where you have to go down, get the ruby, go to the Titan's Tunnel, go to Sarda's cave. It's possible that maybe Titan's Tunnel and/or Sarda's cave have been repurposed into other dungeons. These are just wild guesses on my part, because I can see a couple of dots that I don't think are dots in the vanilla version of the game. In the nose of that upper northwest continent, I'm thinking there might be something new. Let's confirm that this is the Earth Cave. Here is our Fiend's Cave music, and with that, we'll finish up with this one. So next time, we'll take a peek inside the Earth Cave and over to Melmond. Hey, if you like these videos, why not give me a thumbs up? Why not hit that subscribe button? And why not leave me a comment? You can also get in touch with me on Twitter, where I am active_ATE. I would love to hear your feedback on this hack and also on this series of videos. If not, no problem. We will see you next time in the Earth Cave.